Okay, so we've got one more movie in this section, and I think what we're going to have to do is just go into a whole other section for the lighting and shading and texturing, stuff like that. We're going to match this robot up to a potential background as well, and that can kind of be a game changer. You know, you might decide, whoa, that lighting worked before, but it doesn't now. So we'll spend some time on that, and for right now, let's just go and head over here to our parts library, and I'm going to paste in some stuff for us to use. And in fact, here we go. Here's one thing. It's already in the library, but I'll go ahead and follow that prompt that said don't overwrite it. Okay, so our good old TK421. I know actually part of the screen capture is getting cut off a little bit. By now you probably know all the properties I'm potentially going to use here, so it does not matter. But let's go and tint this, and let's. I'm gonna zoom in just a little bit so I can get the bottom of these numbers lined up perfectly, parallel to that line right across there, and that's about as perfect as I want to make it. Okay, that looks good. And let's put in the that little arrow that we had. Let's actually do 3 of them in a row, and it's probably easiest to just line them all up while they're perfectly straight like that. And heck, you could even group them, call them arrows, and then let's just put them in a kind of subtle place like over here. Again though, let's line these up. I'm going to tint this, and red is such a nice color. Let's go ahead and just repeat that over here on the other side. We'll take the tinting off, of course, this time. Let's bring that down just a little bit. Okay, and we've got tons of these little bolt holes that I'm not going to waste too much screen capture time putting on, because we could just kind of nail those things in everywhere. Instead, let's spend a little bit of time in going and putting one of those stripes across the I don't know, these 2 panels. So we'll take a line and let's just go ahead and move it entirely across one of them, like so. And it's okay if it doesn't stretch perfectly across right now. Let's flip it around, do something similar over here, and yet again, it's not going to matter too much because I'm going to make some of my own bends in this, but I guess that'll work. Okay, so first thing we'll do is run a line down through here, and then down through there, through there, and I guess that'll just get cut off. Okay, and you know what, let's move this up just a tad bit, which is going to destroy that line. That's no good. Alright, well, for sure I want to bend this down like so. I'm going to bend this down, and I'm going to split this down the middle, and I guess our tricky one then becomes this guy. But let's see how that looks. Yeah, I think that'll work. Might just move this down a little bit. Okay, and then I'll fill this in, and I'll just take this line and this line and this line, this one as well, We'll just copy and paste those. So move up with them. And I'm not able to select that as one fill yet because that's not closed. There we go. Let's go ahead and make it its base color. And we'll do the same thing over here. Looks like I'm having the same issue. Yep. Okay, now we can get rid of those lines. And if we really want to clean things up, let's just go ahead and move that over there. Move this over here. That's jutting out just a little bit. And then again, we should put lines across here. Oh, you know what? That's actually, there we go. It's almost hard not to be a perfectionist when you're this close in, this zoomed into something. And all right, there we go. Okay, so on this side, we'll make it just a little bit lighter. Fortunately, we do have a lighter red. We don't really have a lighter white. We're at full white right here. So let's go over here to color, and let's just take the brightness down to about 88%. And I don't think that did anything because we didn't have the paint bucket selected. There we go. And that sure dirties up white quick, doesn't it? Just taking down 10%. And for this one, let's go down to that. And same thing here. Oh, how did that line get so far off? Okay. Similar colors over on this side. Let's just go ahead and sample that. Sample this. And then these ones, I guess while we're doing this, might as well just fill those in and then we'll just tint them down. Make this one a little darker. Okay, that looks good. And let's see, I'm just on some layer above everything else right now. Let's just go ahead and grab that. Oh, let's get that little bolt on there. Okay, and then, oops, whoa, don't want to do that. We can play around with just maybe adjusting the alpha slightly on it. Part of me just wants to see a little bit of that line work beneath there, but oh, I don't know. I'm kind of torn here too. We could also play around with the blending, see if that does anything interesting. What if we were to add and then no, that doesn't do anything. What I was going to do is duplicate the same shape on top of there. This might do it though. Let me copy and paste it. Yep, and then it kind of, that was sort of what I was going for. It's interesting. I don't know. I can always play with it later, but that's what the overlay looks like, and we'll just set it back to being normal for right now. It just feels so normal. Okay, and then we can litter this entire illustration with what is in my, or what was in my clipboard, our little bolt, and this is actually a kind of giant bolt right here. This looks like does kind of look like a bullet hole, doesn't it? I would probably not do anything nearly like that. Let's go and make this about 20% of its full size, and you could just put these anywhere. The thing to pay attention to, of course, is that you come in here at a zoom level that gets you close in enough to make it so that you don't do something silly with the scaling on it. Like you don't have a bolt like that showing up on this plane. And you can squash and stretch these circles to kind of match almost any one of these planes. For example, here we go. Here is a better example. Let me put this over here. And so when you're zoomed in on it, that bolt doesn't make much sense right there, okay? Because first off, you would probably want to rotate it and see a little bit of this side, and then come in here and squash it a little bit, right? So then everything on this bolt would probably use, everything on that plane would use that bolt kind of facing that other way. And let's see, no reason why we can't just put it right on top of there. And you can definitely see how that adds a nice little subtle detail right away. It's just a lot of them to add in there potentially. And something you might have to do is kind of knock some of them down in size a little bit. For example, this one might be about 85%. This one might be like 90% of the size of this guy. And then, of course, the nice thing about having these is all one symbol is if you need to, you can always go in here and do just a scale and rotate and numerically take down the size of every single one of them on stage by adjusting just one of the symbols. So if you kind of went through and you put all these holes in there and then you're like, you know what, I think they're all way too big. That is an easy thing to fix. So what I'll do off screen is just go through here and just put a lot of these little bolts on here, and I'll meet you guys back in what will definitely be the final session and hopefully the coolest.